Are you tired of losing an Arsenal 24/7? Here's some tips to make sure you somewhat do better. I can't do it all for you, man. Okay? Tip number one is run with your knife. Yeah, if you run with your knife, you go significantly faster. But when you're approaching corners or anywhere where enemies spawn, maybe deer, make sure you have your gun out just in case you get flanked. Tip number two is to know your map. If you know your map well, you know where enemies are going to spawn, giving you a significant advantage as you're able to practically spawn kill them when they spawn in. If you know your map, you just know what you're going to be doing more, and you're going to have a much smoother experience. Tip number three is to make sure you practice. If you practice just by playing, your aim is going to get better as you're going to learn your movements, you're going to be able to find your settings, your sensitivity that makes the game more fun for you. This will result in you aiming better and getting more wins. Tip number four is similar to tip number two. If you know your weapons, you know certain abilities. Like for instance with the Spencer Carbine, you can double jump, it does 87 body damage and 100 and something head damage. If you know things like this, you'll know whether you can do special movements like double jumps, have secondary firing abilities, use scopes, and know whether you should try to get a single shot headshot or multiple body shots. Tip number five is to find your ideal settings. This includes sensitivity if you're using a mouse, your DPI, your refresh rate on your monitor, etc. If you know these things, you'll be able to aim better because you'll get used to certain settings that work better for what you do. Tip number six is probably the most obvious tip here, and that's aim for the head. If you aim for the head, you get something called a critical hit, which does more damage. This is good for weapons like snipers, single shotguns, semi-automatics, things like that that will do, say, 50 damage body but 100 head. If you hit the head, you get an instant kill. On automatics, well, yes, it is helpful and ideal because of the more damage and less hits. They shoot fast enough that you can get away with doing body shots. I totally don't do that at all. Tip number seven is game modes and maps. To get a good game mode, for instance competitive, always vote competitive if you see that. Standard is usable, but stuff like automatics and gun rotation and randomizer aren't the best for newer players. Games like competitive feature some of the best guns that are easier to use, faster gameplay, and an easier to win game. Map-wise, you want something that's not too small, but not too big. I recommend maps like Dizzy, Sandtown, and Beach are great for newer players who are trying to get better. All in all, those are my 7 recommended tips. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, as I'm trying to get enough subscribers to get Orange Team in this game so I can put out some really goofy videos. Alright, thanks, bye.